55 days away from the presidential election, and while California is considered a shoo-in for Vice President Harris, it's shaping up to be a razor-tight race in a handful of swing states. Suji Nam spent time with some Bay Area volunteers who are going the extra miles to connect with those voters face-to-face.
I'm retired, so I'm like, let's go.
Akila Monifa volunteers with Seed the Vote, which means lots of hours under the sun knocking on doors in swing states to get out the vote for Kamala Harris.
Most of them were saying that they were undecided because they weren't certain about Kamala. They were certain that they didn't want to vote for Trump.
She just came back from Reno, Nevada, where she had conversations with hundreds of undecided voters.
I can't think of anything more important to do in this moment.
Gen Fujioka was one of dozens of other volunteers who also traveled to Nevada, a state President Biden won by a tight margin in 2020.
Many, I think, in some of the neighborhoods we're talking about don't feel safe necessarily or comfortable just talking about politics.
Seed the Vote currently has more than 1,000 volunteers in the Bay Area. The organization's goal is to have about 3,000 volunteers to canvass 5 swing states: Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan.
This work is so important for democracy because at the end of the day, there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there.
Executive Director Emily Lee tells us the goal for each volunteer is to knock on 70 to 80 doors a day.
And when the stakes are this high and the margins are this close, we know that face-to-face conversations can be the deciding reason why undecided voters are going to go cast a ballot.
Volunteers tell us some of their candid conversations with voters have been emotional.
At least a couple of conversations where people have been in tears, actually, because they care about this.
And with less than 2 months until the presidential election, volunteers are ramping up their efforts. They plan to go back to swing states to try and reach more undecided voters before November 5th.
Many people told me it was the first time someone had listened to them and not tried to argue with them. And that was the big thing. So I didn't just talk, I listened.
And if you'd like to help and you're from the Bay Area, you are more than welcome to jump in. If you also have some loved ones who like to jump in and help, you can go to seedthevote.org for more information.